Big man Bojo is out the door. He's out the door. He's gone. He's gone. And not a single funny meme came from his prime ministership. Boris Johnson's resignation. What is going on in UK politics? I mean, I'm also interested to know what the fuck is going on. Boris Johnson, the UK, bear in mind this article is The Guardian, so there will be a little bit of bias thrown in there. I say a little. Boris Johnson, the UK Prime Minister, announced on Thursday that he would be stepping down as leader of the ruling Conservatives in the face of a torrent of resignations by ministers and mounting pressure from within the party. I think that basically everyone just got fed up of him. I don't know what was the straw that broke the camel's back, right? I'm not sure what it was, but basically, in the space of like a couple of days, about 50 odd people resigned, including major figures like Rishi Sunak, Sajid, all those other ones as well. All fucking quit. Didn't quit the party, they just quit their government positions. For now, he is still Prime Minister, but his resignation triggers a contest to replace him as head of his party. The winner will become both party leader and Prime Minister without the need for a national election. Johnson has faced growing calls to go after claims that he lied about the circumstances in which he gave a key role to an ally who was forced to quit last month over accusations that he had groped men. And there's the straw. Johnson's premiership has been embroiled in months of turmoil. Last month, he survived a vote of confidence among Conservative MPs, but the Prime Minister's undoing was ultimately prompted by the scandal surrounding one of their number. Chris Pincher was appointed by Johnson as Deputy Chief Whip, a senior role involved in maintaining discipline among fellow Conservative MPs. He resigned last weekend after being accused by two men of drunkenly groping them at a private members' club in London. Johnson had promoted Pincher in February to the position, which comes with pastoral care responsibilities for colleagues. The Prime Minister declined to suspend Pincher from the party. Pressure began to build after four more allegations were reported in the Sunday papers, including accusations that he had groped two Conservative MPs. Pincher has denied the allegations. Johnson apologised earlier this week after it emerged that he had been briefed that Pincher was the subject of previous sexual misconduct complaints before he appointed him. The Prime Minister said he had forgotten. I mean, it's kind of a thing that you want to remember. You kind of want to remember something like that when you're about to give someone a very important government position. What was the political background to Johnson's downfall? MPs, angered by the latest instance of Johnson's erratic relationship with the truth, have been eager to oust a leader many now regard as an electoral liability. Earlier this year, Johnson was forced to apologise after being fined over illegal parties held at his official residence, 10 Downing Street, at a time when COVID-19 restrictions were in place. And I made a bunch of videos about that as well, where if we are expected to obey the rules, there were some people that couldn't go to funerals, there were some people that couldn't go and hold their relative's hand as they fucking died in hospital, while this dickhead was sitting snorting lines off the table in Downing Street with all his friends. So, yeah, fuck him. Johnson led the Conservatives to a landslide general election win in 2019 over the opposition Labour Party. Well, basically, that's not too hard to do when the opposition is Labour. I mean, think how bad the Tories are, right? And think of how much they won the last election in. That's how bad Labour is. Labour Party on a platform of finally realising Britain's departure from the European Union. However, he has been blamed for a hemorrhaging of support among voters, and the party lost seats in recent by-elections, including in some Conservative heartlands, brought about by resignations of MPs. The government is facing political challenges, including rising inflation, a relatively resurgent Labour Party under new leadership, and a renewed attempt by the Scottish National Party to push for a referendum on independence for Scotland. Johnson is that's been three in a row. We've had three prime ministers in a row resign. First we had David Cameron, then we had Theresa May, and now we had Boris Johnson. So that's three Tory prime ministers in a row that have resigned. Johnson is the third Conservative leader to have been forced out of office by his own party in the past 7 years. David Cameron resigned after calling and then losing the referendum on the question of the UK's membership of the EU. David Cameron's one was at least funny. All right, you want your referendum? Have your little referendum. He didn't expect like Leave to win, and then when Leave won, he pretty much just went, "All right, fuck this, I'm out," and fucking left. He just rage quit. Well, Theresa May stepped aside after 3 years of trying and failing to pull Britain out of the EU after the Brexit vote. The coming vacancy at the top of the Conservative Party presents both an opportunity for the opposition Labour Party, which has sought to rally under a new leader, Keir Starmer, who is... I feel dead sorry for Keir because he's a Blairite. He is a Blairite. He is mostly the bad old school. He's old school Labour, but he's like the bad old school. But then he's also trying to do the whole, oh, well, a woman, what is a woman? Well, it's complicated, you see, so as not to alienate all these fucking Zoomer voters that don't understand biological sex. As well as risk if a new hand at the tiller of the governing party is able to tempt back natural Conservative voters and weather economic headwinds. What has been the role of members of Johnson's own government? The potentially fatal blows were delivered on Tuesday when the Finance and Health Minister resigned, as Johnson attempted to limit the damage from the Pincher scandal. Other resignations followed, turning it into a flood that left question marks over whether Johnson would be able to find replacements of sufficient calibre, while a Rubicon was crossed when other ministers still in post called for him to go. Those pressing for his departure included MPs who had previously been among Johnson's most loyal supporters, and the new finance minister appointed only the day before. What happens next? For now, at least, Johnson is still the British Prime Minister. In fact, Michael Gove was one of the... He was a big Boris guy for bloody years, and then Michael Gove, like in the midst of the resignations, Michael Gove told Boris, "You fucked up. You should resign," and then Boris sacked Michael Gove. So yeah, it's not going well. I mean, in the midst of the resignations, Boris fired someone. It's fucking mental. For now, at least, Johnson is still the British Prime Minister. In his announcement on Thursday, he blamed a herd instinct for his departure and said he would stay on until a new leader of his party was in place. A contest to select a new leader who will become Prime Minister could be concluded as soon as 2 weeks from now, but some Conservative MPs say that Johnson should be replaced immediately rather than be allowed to remain as a caretaker leader until a successor is found. I mean, when you're Prime Minister or President of a country, you are a caretaker. That's what you are. You're just the caretaker for the next 4 years. One scenario could see Dominic Raab, the Deputy Prime Minister, step into the role of caretaker. Robert Buckland, the new Secretary of State for Wales, has reportedly suggested that a fresh-formed cabinet will block Johnson if he tries to make major policy moves in the coming weeks. Although, that's the end of the article, I believe Boris says that he wasn't going to make any major policy changes. So, Bojo's gone. That is the third Prime Minister in a row, third Tory Prime Minister in a row to resign. And it came after, I think the number reached 52 resignations from Johnson's own cabinet. Basically, all the government positions, Health Minister, Transport Minister, blah, 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 all started resigning. The government just started shutting the fuck down. Which means, as libertarians, if we should all be voting for the Tories, because it seems to be the fastest way to get the government to cave in on itself. 3 resignations in a row. 3 resignations in a fucking row, and now Boris is gone. Boris Johnson. And this is the thing, is like, a part of me did get a little bit fucking excited when Boris came in. Big man Bojo, whiff waff, wah, wah, tiddlywinks. Like, that fucking guy, I went, oh god, this is going to be funny. It's going to be like Trump, but like way more stupid. There's going to be at least some funny memes and shit like that to come out of this. Nah, not one funny meme. There are shit tons of funny memes of Boris, like, before he became Prime Minister, when he was just this big, silly oaf in the party, and I love those. Those are quite funny. Him on that fucking abseil waving his little flags and stuff like that. That was all funny. But his Prime Ministership? Disappointing.